Welcome to Follow the Money for the Northside tornado victims. We all know that the Northside was devastated when a tornado touched May 22nd, 2011. Many people came forward to help and volunteer. Minneapolis Foundation was set up for corporations and individuals to donate to help the victims. I know concerts have been performed for money to be donated to help the victims. And the Northside, some nonprofits came together and created the Northside Community Response Team. Something that I've been attending since the beginning of June and have a folder full of information of what they want to do. And this is the problem. What they want to do and what will actually be done is the purpose of this. We are going to break this down bit by bit and piece by piece. And when it's all said and done, it will be you, the viewers, to decide if when you donate that money to a cause, if it actually gets to the purpose you gave it. Again, our first segment is going to be on 150 jobs that were to be created for the youth, for those affected by the tornado on the north side. And to lead in to how this was all going to be arranged, here's Scott Gray speaking to the Northside Community Response Team. Listen, enjoy. Again, Mr. Scott Gray, President of the Urban League. Excuse me, I'll get better. I'm not used to being in front of the camera. Enjoy.
We're going to move the agenda to next item. And we got Dr. Scott Gray. Welcome, Secretary.
Good afternoon. I want to say that our group is looking to work on three things. Youth employment. We also want to work on short to long-term opportunities around hiring, so that some of the minority construction companies that are working on projects look to us to get skilled and unskilled workers. And then the third piece is that we know everybody doesn't need to be or doesn't want to go into construction. And so we want to figure out building kind of a job bank of opportunity or a long-range plan to make sure that folks that are interested in employment get the opportunity to move forward. And so we haven't convened our first meeting. Our first meeting will be around youth employment, which will be tomorrow at 3:30 at the Urban League. And so tomorrow we are going to meet with 5 other youth sponsoring organizations. Emerge is one of those organizations. Achieve Minneapolis, City of Minneapolis, Park and Rec Board, and maybe forgetting one other organization. But we're going to start with those 5 organizations to figure out what is already going on, how many north side youth are already working, and is there the capacity to do more, or is there more of a need? Okay, so we're going to figure that out first on tomorrow at 3:30 at the Urban League. And then we will provide a report next week on what we do for capacity.
And Chad made reference to other opportunities. I think did you make reference to other employment opportunities? I'm imagining something.
Hey, my question, I thought during that time before, I thought you guys put something out to try to get 150 of our youth on immediately. The long-term plan might have a long-term plan.
The youth engagement piece is a short-term point. So tomorrow we're meeting at 3:30. We're meeting with organizations that are already doing youth development, understanding where their capacity is, what's going on, and then the second piece to that is there is a proposal being put together to figure out 200 job opportunities for youth. And so Emerge is part of that, and that has already started, and there may be some more organizations that are part of that. But we're going to leave tomorrow's meeting at 3:30 knowing what the plan is related to that.
So can I just say from the time is of the essence that we get ready to go into July for this.
That's why we're meeting tomorrow at 3:30, and after that meeting, we will have a plan of action moving forward, which might mean a proposal as well.
So we will have something on Wednesday talking about, if you meet tomorrow, we'll have something on Wednesday.
That's cool. You teach that too. But here's what I'd like to do. I'd like for Scott, for the presenters to make their presentation, and then we'll have questions, okay? Can we just do it that way?
No.
Because I want to make sure, others might have questions too. I want to make sure everybody else has questions.
So let me just respond to that real quick. Tuesday, we will meet, we will try to quickly pull everything together, and if there is something to report, we will be here Wednesday and we will report that out. Okay? The second phase that we want to work on starting next week is the construction side, making sure that we understand what all the opportunities out there, both short-term to long-term. So we want to develop a matrix, and we kind of want to work with the minority business development group to figure out what those opportunities are. So we should be calling a meeting next week to do that. Then the third piece is really a long-term piece. So by Monday of next week, we will be ready to report on youth. If we have something before that, we'll report it on Wednesday, and then on Monday we'll report what we're trying to do around the whole jobs, construction, and hiring locally.
No, is that to create the plan, or are you holding something like that?
Well, if you already have something here before, we just want to understand what you got, because we have a number of organizations that are doing some construction training or construction placement, and so we want to make sure that we're all on the same page.
Yeah. So we can sort of give you the outline of that.
Yeah. Okay. If you want to send that to me, then we will take a look at it and convene a meeting with the workforce folks next week.
Okay.
I'm sorry, this week.
Y'all can handle that. We can handle that. And then, Chad, you got something in that piece, trying to.
Can I ask on the piece?
Did I see a hand up over here?
You did.
Okay.
So, Scott, can you talk about our discussion around the infrastructure piece and global picture on that?
The infrastructure meeting, the FEMA dollars, well, there's some conversation happening. There is a declaration that the city of Minneapolis is going to get some dollars for public works. We do not know what that dollar amount is yet. And so I've been trying to work with the city, and hopefully if you all can share that with us, we know that that's going to include some minority procurement dollars. Also, we want to make sure that there's some hiring alongside of that. So we got to figure out what that number is so that we can start to plan around that. So we're still working on trying to get that number.
Well, before Al kicks in, let me be clear. Public Works does not have a good reputation, forget your reputation, track record, all right? CPA can put up really good numbers. If this goes into the hands of Public Works, it's going to be a fight, all right? About first the goals and what will they do, and then the whole contracting, because they do streets, curbs, and structures. So it's going to be a real interesting issue. This is the issue, the first big money issue that's on the table. And it's not about emergency services. This is about contracting opportunities and jobs. And so extracting that information, we're going to need some folks.
Well, what I'd like
on top of that.
What I'd like to do is invite someone from Public Works to our first meeting, or someone who can give us really an answer on kind of what the next steps are going to be. The second piece is that the mayor is already meeting with President Obama and his team and trying to figure out a long-term strategy around this, a redevelopment strategy. And so we want to also figure out what that means, and so we will call both Public Works and CPED to the same meeting so that we can get a good handle on it. If you can help us along with that, we want to try to do this on Friday so that we can come back Monday with kind of a plan of action or report.
Clarification, Henry, you were in charge. Rocco was going down. You were in charge now in Public Works.
I'm not in charge of Public Works. I'm in charge of regulatory services.
I did that for these young kids' job, like when and them at work and the park and teamwork, they have the capacity already. We know sitting at the table. after the foundations and the county, and they put the resources up and put their kids to work.
That is what our intention is.
Yeah, well, let's do it.
And so we have to pull it into place. Park and Rec Board, the Chief of Minneapolis, the City of Minneapolis.
And I'm saying you're ready. I'm talking to the Park and Rec.
So we are hoping to come out of that meeting with a point.
Okay, I hate to rush you, but Doc, bring that to conclusion. Sure.
So that's it at this point.
Okay.
So next week, so Wednesday we will present a report on where we're at with review. On Friday we're going to meet with hopefully Public Works and someone from CPED to talk about what the next stages are around public works projects in North Minneapolis and this whole long-term revitalization.
Okay. We need to move the agenda.
So you just heard a little interaction. You heard Scott Gray, president of the Urban League, explaining the process of what they were going to do to gather 5 organizations together to, put kids out on the street to work. One thing I want you to listen to going forward, because I'm going to be showing you more videos of the discussion of the 150 youth, is Lewis King made the comment, Public Works does not have a good reputation. And then he kind of retracted and said, track record. The other voice that you'll hear a lot, because he always has a lot to say, is Mr. Al Flowers. And I found it very interesting that he said that putting these youths were of time of the essence. Now, I need to make a little editorial on this, because I find it rather humorous that Mr. Flowers would make such a comment, considering approximately a year ago at the Urban League, he had brought in a bunch of young people, like they're discussing now. And the reason I'm explaining this to you is to show a pattern of how things operate. So about a year ago, Mr. Flowers had brought together a bunch of youths to be pre-screened for 200 jobs that were to be opened go through Emerge in the Camden area at their open house. So all these young people come in and, fill out all the necessary paperwork and everything's A-okay, and they all show up at the Emerge open house, where many were told that they were hired. They filled out their W-2 information, and there were some very, very happy people this particular day. Again, this was about a year ago. Well, some of these kids called Emerge, and they weren't getting a response. So they went down. And then they said, well, there was a mistake. They really did not have 200 openings. So I called up Mr. Flowers, because I felt it was his responsibility to follow up to see what went so wrong, being as he was the one who put together these groups of young people to try for these jobs. I got no response back from him. He wasn't going to follow up. I followed up. The youths were told there was a mistake. There really weren't 200 jobs. And then, but they had promised some of these people that they did have a couple openings downtown. Again, the people called. They weren't getting a response. They went down. It ended up, I don't know of anyone who got a job out of last year from Emerge, from that 200 kids that had supposedly applied. Again, I'm trying to show you a pattern here. Mr. Flowers is talking about time of essence, but yet words are really good. Actions speak louder than freaking words. So with that said, I'm going to show you what was said at a meeting, I believe a week later, where Mr. King pinpoint the target date when these youths are supposed to start working. Again, enjoy. We'll be back.
And that, the second order of business, which is now the first order of business today, is a job committee report. I remind you that we had our first priority was to meet the human needs of the people in the box. And to boil that in, we submitted a proposal to the Minneapolis Foundation. We have a human needs committee, which is formed, subcommittees. Shauna's going to report on that in a minute once she gets her copies. Our second priority is to put 150 children to work in the course of the summer so that they can really have a stimulus for their families. I've done the early work in the background about securing the money for this project. I don't think that's going to be an issue. I can say with certainty we'll be able to fund this thing. It's the right thing to do. I've asked Scott Gray, what's your name? Mike Wayne, right. I'm over 50, so I do that every once in a while. I've asked Scott Gray and Mike Wayne to come up with a strategy. They have a committee, and Scott, are you ready? Ready? Now I'm going to turn over to Scott Gray, President and CEO of the Urban League, to give us a report.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
We had a meeting yesterday with all of the youth sponsors that we could get a hold of. That was the Park and Rec Board, that was Merge, that was Chief Minneapolis, and the City of Minneapolis. And yesterday we had a conversation about trying to figure out if we could, if they had the capacity to add an additional 150 slots for summer youth, specifically for Northside residents or Northside youth, particularly those that have been impacted by the tornado. And so from that meeting yesterday, we decided that we wanted to move ahead with the 150 slots, and that the Park and Rec Board, their Teamwork program, and that Emerge would be moving forward with a model to implement a summer youth project. Now, what I heard from the meeting on Monday was that we wanted someone who had the capacity to move forward very quickly. We wanted someone who had experience in summer youth engagement and work. And so these are the two organizations that could get a program up and running right away, which would address 150 slots. And so Emerge is ready to take 80, and the Park and Rec Board is ready to take 70. And so under the Emerge model, there is still an opportunity for us nonprofits that want to support summer youth that under his model, there could be an assignment that you take on a group of teams at your nonprofit or your organization. With the Park and Rec Board, they are ready to put folks to work in beautification projects. And I should say both Emerge and Teamworks have beautification projects. And so the only thing that we need to do at this point, Louis, is the proposal is just about ready. We'd like to introduce that proposal to the core team, to the leadership team, and as soon as the core team can be ready to move it forward.
Okay, I'd like to get that done by email so that we can expedite the process and get the deal done. What's the price tag?
The price tag is just a little shy of $400,000.
Can I get an exact number, Mike?
Exactly, 384.97.
All right, outstanding. First of all, I want to thank you for your work and moving very quickly on this. One other question. What would be the anticipated, what is your target date for launch?
What we'll be doing is staggering starts of
Okay.
4 crews.
All right.
That will launch the week of July 4th, and a growing scale of the following week,
Okay.
the 11th.
And there will be an opportunity for other groups to get engaged. They would need to come to
Yes.
so it's specific requisitions.
Yes, and the Park and Rec Board, as soon as the award is announced, they can start a week following.
Okay, so what I'm going to ask this group for today, the way we do it by consensus, is one, subject to questions, to accept or approve this action by the Jobs Committee to put 150 kids to work under the direction of Emerge and Minneapolis Public Park Board, that they be involved in beautification projects, and also would open up the opportunity for other groups to hire them at a cost of approximately $384,000 with a start date of the week of June, July 4th, ramping up over that week. Is that correct? Okay, everybody clear on what we're trying to do? Okay, all in favor of accepting this action, raise your hands. Opposed? All right, thank you very much. Good job, gentlemen. Scott isn't here, but Mike Meehan has an overview summary of what we're doing for short term, summary of employment, and we're trying to get some work at this point. So I'm going to turn it over to Mike.
Sure.
And he's circulated an update for us.
So we put together a summary. Please forgive my hastiness. There's a few typos on there, nothing material to what we're describing here. Standing in for Mr. Gray today, we're working on a proposal that's come up at this table to develop a youth employment response that could deploy 150 young people from North Minneapolis, particularly those who have been directly affected by the storm, followed by those who were very close to the storm, followed by North Minneapolis kids who need an opportunity. We are seeking to create a strategy to build the capacity in two places. One is Emerge stands ready with our Streetworks project, many of you know about, to deploy youth crews in our neighborhood. They're already at work right now. Reference that we actually made an early proposal in the tornado recovery project to deploy Streetworks kids, 2 crews of kids. And they're out working in the neighborhood doing cleanup projects, assisting neighborhood health. And what we're proposing to do is bring that to scale. Secondly, we met with the leaders of deployment strategies across the community. Teamwork and Minneapolis Park Board stands ready to expand their capacity to reach some of the same kids who have been impacted by the storm. And they believe they've identified young people on their waiting list right now. We have city and park board waiting lists. We also, through our many partnerships here, know a number of young people who could use this opportunity. So what we put forward is a proposal to deploy 150 young people, 21 adults from our community to lead a crew model approach to make this happen. We have been putting this proposal out to funders. Young people would be working a total of 30 hours per week for a 4 to 7 week period. We've got kind of a phase-in strategy to allow us to kind of build our capacity as we go very quickly over a period of time to bring this thing up. And so 30 hours a week, 725, that's consistent with the summer jobs pay level, as well as these 21 crew ready to bring on board and deploy. So that's where the project stands at this point. It's currently being considered by funders. We have gotten word that Hennepin County has made a $50,000 commitment to this project. We have further to go with to do this whole thing at $384,000. So I'll entertain any questions about that.
In the conversation, he wants to pull the Department of Regulatory Services and civil rights so that we can all have a conversation about what we want to do as it relates to job opportunities around the money that is coming in to public works.
That's great because earlier John asked a question very good about 84, 85 houses. being demolished and what that plan is. Johnny really didn't have an answer. It is regulatory services that controls that regulation. So thank you for that. For those of you who are new to this discussion, this is about the city got some money from FEMA to work on the infrastructure that got destroyed, and Scott is leading our effort to engage in those conversations. So now we're pulling it all together rather than it being piecemeal. All right, that's great. That's a good deal. Anybody else with any questions on the job? Anybody? Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you. First of all, what is the dollar amount? You know, at this point, for part one.
What's the dollar amount
That they committed to the property.
in our organization?
That's here,
Yeah, 213 from Emerge, 171 to the park.
And we had a question. Have both these organizations board
I can speak on behalf of Emerge. Emerge board operates Streetworks. Emerge operates Streetworks on an annual basis. This is within the realm of that project, which depends on the level of funding that we're able to generate to operate the program on a seasonal basis. Park board has already, I assume, is similar in that they operate the Teamworks program. I believe they have the capacity to add the youth and the cost associated with the project based on the availability of funding.
Thank you.
So, we'll make sure I got this straight. Was the question how much they committed or how much they need? Ron?
No, I think with whatever the discussion has generated how much they're committed.
How much is committed, how much is Emerge putting in? Is that what you're asking?
He asked the question. He indicated Emerge is committed to $213,000.
We're committed to a program of $213,000, depending on the ability to raise money to fulfill that program.
Right, and this would include salary and other benefits involved in this?
There are not benefits. There's fringe expenses.
And my question is, my question, Mr. King, was $171,000 coming from the board of Park Board. I'm just wondering if they've done that by board resolution because there are legal considerations.
It's not coming.
No, let me clear this up.
Oh, okay.
Right now, there's one person raising money for this. It's Louis King. All right? And none of that's coming to something. And I'm raising it for Emerge to manage so they can put 150 kids to work in the community. My question is can anybody help me raise $384,000?
My question, Mr. King, was what was the commitment by board resolution to Minneapolis Park Board? Minneapolis Park Board, this is what's on the paper.
To clarify, they've not committed any of their resources to the project. They've committed to deploying the program should the funds be raised to operate.
Right. And my question, okay, anybody in the room with 80 blind crippled crazy, can you help raise $384,000? All right, that's my question. Yes.
We also have to be mindful that the park board already has 250 slots that they are doing right now, and 60% of them are working on the north side already in beautification projects. So they're taking on an additional 70, and Streetworks is also taking on an additional number of slots as well. So let's be clear that they're already doing this, and they're adding to capacity for folks in the bottom.
My impatience is with the philanthropic community right now. All right, that's my impatience. Okay, that's the only question on the table for me. Not if, when, and we're not going to put this man and his organization under financial stress to make a promise that we cannot keep when we got a whole bunch of people around this community that they're in the business of writing checks. All right? So that's where our focus is right now, and I trust that we're going to get there because we got good people in charge and they're going to move the process forward. Yes, ma'am.
Is there a waiting list, or can youth come apply that need jobs, and how would you get the word out?
Yep. We've identified two waiting lists that already exist. One is the Step Up Summer Program waiting list, where we've been able to identify that there are a large number of Northside youth who are waiting for an opportunity, who are not selected for a job this summer. There's also a TT Works waiting list, which is also lengthy, and so we already know that there are waiting lists. We also avail ourselves to the fact that partnerships, there's a lot of partnerships here. Merge has a robust youth employment program. We have young people who would like an opportunity to work. So we believe that we're going to be able to easily identify 150 young people who fit the criteria.
All right. I have a question.
Yes.
Is there any, or do you have a separate component design for the youth that has been directly affected with the tornado situation?
Yeah, all of the 150 are targeted in the tornado affected area. So when we look at the step up list, when we look at the list that Teamworks has already, they can narrow it down to addresses to make sure that these are folks or youth that have been impacted.
One priority that I mentioned earlier, we'd really like to see young people from families that have been directly affected get an opportunity. This would be a great opportunity for us to provide it out. And so that would be a high priority to see youth from displaced families to get a job opportunity.
All right, here and two in the back. Go ahead.
I just wondered if there's an additional program for adults in the community that is impacted to have a job in the cleanup.
At this point,
I don't know.
Yeah, 21 here. 21 jobs right here.
There are 21 jobs there as supervisors. As supervisors.
And that's what we're working on with Public Works now on the adult side.
Right. This is the bigger discussion: is how do we get people, family leaders, with families, to be part of that demolition and also the infrastructure rebuild, curbs, sidewalks, those types of things. That's going to be farther out. The deal here was let's get the kids off the streets. Let's put some money in their pockets. I had summer job, picking tomatoes, shining shoes, mowing lawns. Never had any benefits. All right. Then I worked for CETA. Everybody remember that? Picking up paper. All right. Never had any benefits. I had a job. All right. CETA. Okay. So we're gonna do our own CETA. All right. Going on with that. Yes.
I just wanted to know.
Hey, let's listen up.
I just wanted to know for the youth who were directly affected for the tornado in North Minneapolis, who haven't had a chance to apply for summer job. Is there a way that they can come down and fill out applications for that job?
Yeah, it's the two questions. That we include that youth who need an opportunity for Northside residents are in this group that we want to get involved in this. The trouble is we know that 150 job slots isn't going to go very far compared to the number of youth that would like a job. So we are going to set up an application process. We're not yet taking applications until we know what kind of program we're going to do.
So you're not too late.
Okay.
So hey, good to see you over here. How you doing?
How you doing, man? I want to know about the parents or the older people. Would they be eligible to be like food leaders or something like that for the displaced family?
21 jobs. Have not taken application yet. Raising the money to make it happen.
All right.
Good to see you. All right. Okay. Great job. Thanks a lot. Oh, Reverend
Lewis, what we will do, I'm saying this, I'm just we're going to, we've been the State Baptist Convention, we'll put at least $5,000 towards that $380,000 that you talked.
How much is a crew?
It's running between 60, it depends on the duration of the crew.
Sure.
But it's in $16,000 to $18,000.
$16,000 to $18,000 for a crew. Okay. All right.
Based on the segment.
about a year too, about what one kid should earn. Because some of us individually or even organizationally might catch the kids. All right, and we get there too. We don't always have to write a proposal, though. All right, these executive directors got $1,000, $2,000 in the cushions of those organizations and kick in. I get hit up for sponsorships all the time, so we get a chance to do that kind of stuff. Yes, ma'am.
Step up. So that's one that you can call them up and then see what that advertising. So this is curious about how you thought about that contract.
And we're not going to work those details out in this room. You can have that discussion with him offline. That's all right. All right. So you guys will get to do that. All right. I will also tell you that I'm in her ear and all over the cell phone and text message and emails saying, that's great. Now, can we get to $378,000 for kids to work, right? Is that right? All right. I mean, it's a job that needs to be done. So let me tell you where we are right now. Inside that is $50,000 for kids. The county put up $50,000, so we're at $100 right now. The Robbins, Capitol Miller, and Cerisi board, which I must disclose I sit on, put up $50K, and they'll match other funders up to $50K, so a total of another $100. All right? So 50, so that's 100. Somebody help me. 200, right? Okay. Okay. Now, let's double down. You ready to double down? All right. You ready to double down? Okay. All right. Here we go. Somebody was going to give us $25,000, so I got $25,000. I'm going to put the $25,000 on the table right here, right now. For every dollar this group matches me, I will go to another fund to have them match us. Okay, here we go again. I have $25,000, and I'm willing to commit to this. For every dollar that this group puts up to match the $25,000, I will go to another funder and get them to match us. So here's the play. If we get a full $25,000 out of this group, we then have $50,000, and I will go to individual investors that I know and get another $50,000 to give us $100,000. What do you think of that play?
I get it.
All right? Lead, follow, get out of the way. All right? So I'm stepping up. So here's how we're going to do it. Yes, sir?
GMCC has $25,000.
Oh my goodness, the bidding has started. How the shoot? Here we go. We got one here. Oh, wait, we got one hand in the back.
No, we can't hear. We can't hear.
Oh. Better sit on your head. You bought the whole house. All right? GMCC put up $2,500. Now I wasn't gonna put you all out there like that, but I said they got one in. So we got 5,000. Okay, you get where I'm coming from? Go in there. What we're gonna do is this. Reverend Coleman has been pretty much serving as the admin space. All right. You can email it to him. You can write it on the back of a matchbox. And listen, I have donors that give me $10 a month religiously. I have people that give $10 a year religiously. Every penny counts. 100% participation is worth more than $100,000. Trust me. All right? So, I'm just laying it out there. We can get to this goal. We can make this happen because people will understand that, hey, we're really committed to these children. Okay? And so whether it's $10, $5, $10, whatever. Yes, sir?
Just want to get the math, keep the math straight. Louis, is it 20 that you were looking for, 25?
25.
Well, last Wednesday, the State Baptist Convention committed 5,000.
That's right.
Remember that?
Oh, we got to collect on it then? Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. All right, great. Yes, he did. Woo! All right. Hey, that's what I'm talking about. That's why Ron here. I'm going. Okay, I left you in the 70s. You know when we're down in the 70s, don't you? Okay. So here's the play. Here's the play. And some of you might have heard this, and I am not pleased right now. I wouldn't have expected us, but it is what it is. I wasn't worried about the FEMA money. We said that, right? Okay. We're not worried about this. We're going to get it done. And the way we're going to get it done is not just by asking. We're going to get it done by leading and asking people to join us. All right? we're going to lead, and they will join us in putting our children to work. Okay? So, I need you okay, we got somebody else this week on Friday. So I know Karen's going to put this in front of them. So we need our number in by Thursday. Okay, so we need everything in. That's tomorrow. Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is moving in real time. Kids ready to go to work. Okay? You need to get it in to Reverend Coleman by tomorrow. Okay? And let's say tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Is that okay with you, Reverend Coleman? Email, phone call, whatever. But we got to get this done because it is for the kids. And it will be easy to get people to join us than the underwriters. All right? And whatever you do, if it's $1, $10, $15, cool. As long as we can put your name or the organization name down, it says we all have skin in the game. All right? All right, great.
After that video I just showed you, I really need a sip of coffee because now this is where it's going to get very interesting if you're not bored already. I hope you're not, because if you weren't paying attention, you might get lost, because it's very easy. It's almost like a shell game. Mr. Lewis King was very excited in that video because now they're starting to match grants. And he's talking about Cerisi and them $50,000. You've already heard in the previous videos that Hennepin County had given $50,000. Now, if you see Cerisi $50,000 and whoever match, then I'm still kind of trying to figure out if Lewis King was putting up $25,000 or he'd match if every organization came up with $25,000. But here's the catch. That video you just saw was excitement because they had just been accepted for $200 and some thousand, the Northside Recovery Unit group. Let's see. Northside Recovery Unit received $240,000 and $240,750. That's for the 20 nonprofits put together, or however many, because honestly, some people don't show up. I really don't know who's all involved because there's never been a breakdown, even on the Minneapolis Foundation site, of who these 20 nonprofit groups are. But they announced on July 7th the funding announcement that Minneapolis Foundation had given them, approved them of, again, what did I say, $240,000 and, I'm sorry here, $240,000. It figures, just lost everything. $240,750. So, what I find ironic is that after they are told that as a group, now mind you, a group, which means, and this is where things get confusing, because we're going to break this down. I need to stay focused right now on the youth jobs. But as a group, I don't know how things are divided, because some of these entities, such as Emerge, Urban League, also got separate funding, which means it's kind of double dipping, because they not only got separate funding, which I'm going to explain here in a second, but they're also part of the Northside Community Response Team. I think that's double dipping. So not only did they just get all excited and high-fiving about receiving this money from the Minneapolis Foundation, now they've decided to do a challenge grant. Okay, let me think about this. A challenge grant. You weren't doing a challenge grant much before you got the money from the Minneapolis Foundation. Now you've got money that you received, and this challenge grant is to put 150 youths to work, effective, supposedly, according to this, July 11th. So now you receive money. Help me through this, people. You receive money, and now Louis expects everybody in the organizations to pony up some money. Wow. Huh. How's that helping the victims, kind of the tornado? But what makes this even more interesting is, it seems to me, with $50,000 from Cerisi, $50,000 from Hennepin County, Reverend McAbee had donated $5,000. God only knows if there's any money in that $260,750 that is to be applied towards the youth workers, because there's not a breakdown of the organizations themselves and what money was applied, which we'll get into at a later time, because you will be disgusted at what we were given as far as an RFP proposal. But again, that will be our next segment. But what I find interesting is the Minneapolis Foundation, under employment, again now this is separate funding. This isn't the Northside Community Response Team money, separate funding. Employment, $140,000. Emerge, Community Development, Streetworks Youth Program, $30,881. Emerge, Minneapolis Park and Recreation Board, on behalf of NCRT, Neighborhood Community Response Team, $50,000. Minneapolis Park and Recreation Board, $35,000. Tree Trust, $24,152. So let me get this straight here. $140,000 plus $100,000 we're aware of is already $200,000. That's not including the $25,000 that I don't know if Louis is putting up, or he's only going to put up if somebody else is going to match $25,000, which would be another $50,000. I mean, with all this shell playing, all the money should be there, and actually they should exceed the $384,975 that they're trying to raise. But to me, they've still got quite a bit of money in the pot that they could put some kids to work. So I received some phone calls on Monday, July 11th, wanting to know where the applications were for these jobs. What was going on with them? Now, if you recall in the video, and please look back if you missed it, but I was the one who asked the question if they were actually going to be giving out applications, or if they were going to use kids that were on a waiting list. Because as we all know, Teamworks, and the Step Up program always has an abundance of youths that want jobs, and obviously they only have so many slots. So I decided to go out and look for these 150 youths that were supposed to be put to work. Well, my first step was the Urban League. I went to ask for a Mr. Everett or, well, first let me state, I was surprised because the first thing I ran into posted on the door was the resource center. Their lab was shut down due to government shutdown. Wow. So who is leading the work program? Guess what? Nobody, because everybody has been pretty much laid off. So who is running this program from the Urban League to get these youths on the street to work? Well, I asked to speak to the big dog, Mr. Scott Gray. Needless to say, he didn't come down to speak to me face to face, but I did talk. Somebody made a phone call right there while I was standing there, and his first response basically was, "Who's inquiring?" I know. Who would actually follow up to see if the money is being spent right? And then I'm told, well, they haven't raised the funds. There's not enough money, so the program hasn't really started yet. But go down and talk to Mr. Wynn at Emerge. So I got the blow off Mr. Gray. Didn't raise enough money yet, and the program had not taken effect yet. Well, today's July 11th. Okay, well, maybe Mr. Wynn will tell me something else. I head down to Emerge. I asked to speak to Mr. Steve Wynn. Surprise. Imagine my shock. Imagine my shock when I was told he's out of the office for the week. Huh. Wow. Isn't that convenient? Maybe he's doing something, maybe he's not. I wasn't able to speak to him, so I don't know. But according to Mr. Gray, the funds hadn't been raised, so they weren't able to implement this 150 youth program yet. But the park board is also involved. So I made a trip to the park board and spoke with a very nice woman who leads teamwork. It was at that point that I was told that they had received money. Let me remind you, Minneapolis Park and Recreation Board, a youth summer employment program in North Minneapolis, tornado disaster zone that will allow youth to participate in a 9-week summer program. I want all my viewers to know that they put 16 people to work the minute they got that funding. 2 weeks ago. They're working in the Falwell, North Commons, Park and the tornado zone. They made it quite clear that because a lot of kids had been displaced, phone numbers were disconnected, so they went beyond the call of duty to contact their emergency contact. Again, I've supported Teamworks for many years because they really do follow through. But I'm still wondering, when is Scott Gray of the Urban League and Emerge going to follow through? Because the other interesting thing I found out was they had raised $300,000. Well, if they've raised $300,000, now, and in fairness, I don't know about Tree Trust at this point, but if they've raised $300,000 and $140,000 was applied for employment through Minneapolis Foundation, why aren't these kids at work? What's the holdup? And then, I want you to keep this in mind. If these kids have not started working yet, And they haven't. By the time I'm done recording this, it's July 13th. And they needed $384,000 for 6 weeks of work at the most. The more and more time that goes on that these kids aren't put to work, but they've collected $384,000, where's the difference of that money going to land? Somebody's pocket? Are they going to create fall jobs? No answers for that, because there's no jobs right now. So again, we need to follow this very carefully. Now, one other thing too, in closing, is that if you go also to the Minneapolis Foundation site, they have a list of phone numbers of people to call. And one of them was for the park board. Well, now the number's gone, excuse me. You know what, I'm not editing, but I don't want to waste your time while I look. I'll be right back. Alrighty, sorry it took me so long. What I was looking for was Minneapolis Park and Recreation Board. This is a Minneapolis Foundation link page. Youth Employment and Life Skills Summer Program for those affected by the tornado. Limited slots available. Call for application or to be put on the waiting list. No applications are being taken right now. And as a matter of fact, I was also informed if the government stays shut down, a little FYI, the Step Up program will be ending July 29th. Now the reason I bring up about this application is because this is a big issue too. Because one of my questions, as you recall, to Mr. Wynn was, would they be going off the waiting list? Because hundreds of kids apply. What I was told is basically today was that they would probably work off the waiting list for the plain fact that background checks have been done and these youths would be able to go to work just like that. Not saying that they wouldn't do their best to try and find the kids from the tornado zone, but they would be working probably off the waiting list because all these job positions application process had closed in March. Well, you know what? That was before the tornado. Again, it seems like as of today, the 13th, it's very early in the morning, I could only find that the park board had followed through with their money and had put 16 kids to work. As for all the other nonprofit organizations, they're not out there yet. I want to really end this with a phone call I received earlier yesterday afternoon that a victim had talked to Mr. Flowers. And while they were searching for some help, he told them there wasn't anything he could do. He referred them to Pillsbury United. But he wanted to know if there were any kids who needed jobs because they were taking applications and they had jobs to give them. From everything I've found out, there's no applications right now, so don't bother. And I'm not sure how they're going to communicate it. So, again, review the videos I just put out. Keep in mind that the government shutdown has also caused some serious problems because a lot of people have been laid off that oversee these youth programs. So we are really trying to follow the money here, and it's not sounding like it's going to the victims of the tornado. We're going to keep breaking this down. Until next time, this is Follow the Money for the Northside Tornado Victims.